The best thing about slow cooking is you don't need lots of pots and pans. This gumbo recipe is an absolute delicious slow cook recipe, all done in one pot. So a gumbo essentially is a chicken and rice dish. So I'm going to season some chicken up, so some chicken thighs with the bone in and skin off. Now I love to keep the bone in the chicken thighs because it's going to keep it super moist as it cooks long and slow. I'll also add some flour, and this is going to help thicken our gumbo sauce. Now typically it's done with chicken, but you could also add some seafood to this. I've even seen a gumbo made with rice, yabbies. It really is totally adaptable. So after you've coated the chicken, we're going to add a good splash of extra virgin olive oil. And this is a recipe that I've developed not only for a heavy base casserole pot like this, but also in the slow cooker. And this recipe is in my latest book, The Slow Cook. So we'll add our chicken first. And we want to get some colour on it because just like many stews from all around the world, colour equals flavour. So we'll give that a few minutes on each side. And then for the holy trinity of the vegetables for a gumbo, some onion, celery and some capsicum, and we'll add that next to soften. Also, there's sausage involved in a gumbo. So I'm using some chorizo sausage. Traditionally, this style of stew is done with an andouille sausage, but it's very hard to come by in Australia. It's a pork sausage that's got lots of spices through it. Chorizo sausage is a fantastic alternative. It's got the smoked paprika through it, lots of garlic, and it's slightly fatty, so it's a great option to use for this. So 2 chorizo sausage, I'll just slice into rounds. I'm going to turn my chicken now. Perfect, some good colour there. And we'll just give that a little longer. Also, a few cloves of garlic, 3 cloves of garlic to be precise, and just roughly chop it. This is going to cook for at least an hour, so it will break down quite a lot. And some spring onions. I'm using the spring onion tops for the garnish later on, but we're not going to waste the white part. This is where the sweetness comes from, so we'll just cut this about there and just cut it into small rounds like this. And this is going to give it a really nice sweetness, not only from the onions, but from this too. All right, chicken out just for a moment. There we go. And we'll add all of our vegetables. So onions in first. Always when you're cooking a stew, get yourself prepared in the kitchen, so have everything chopped up. You can see how easy it is to put together. And one pot, which is what we all love. All right, we'll toss that. You can see there's lots of vegetables, so use a large casserole or stew pot just like this one. I'll add a small splash of extra virgin olive oil. And the chorizo sausage can go in, garlic and spring onions. And another toss just to coat everything in that yummy onion mixture. And then this now just needs to cook for about 5 to 6 minutes, stirring it regularly till it cooks down, gets slight colour, and then we're ready for the next stage. Okay, this is looking fantastic. So a few more ingredients. Bay leaves, I love fresh bay leaves, so 3 of those in there. Lots of assertive flavours in a gumbo and lots of things. So spices, smoked paprika and a pinch of cayenne. And I say a pinch because I don't want it to be too spicy. If you do want it to be hotter, add a little more. And lots of dried oregano. Okay, so I say at least a teaspoon or so. And just let that toast. And now it's really starting to smell like soul food. I love it. I'll return my chicken. So little chicken cutlets go in. And by all means, if you wanted to, you could use a whole chicken and cut it into 8 pieces if you want to make a bigger batch. Any juices left over, add them because that is flavour. And then now for the liquid. So I'll start with some tomatoes, just a whole peeled tomato for this, and you'll crush them up. I like to use a whole peeled tomatoes just because I want the 2 textures in there, and just distribute that evenly. And some stock. So some chicken stock, you'll need about 2 cups of chicken stock. And the reason you'll need this much stock is we not only want to slowly cook our chicken in the liquid, but I'll be adding some rice later on. So the first stage of cooking, we'll pop the lid on And this cooks now for 40 to 45 minutes until the chicken is almost cooked. Then I'll add some rice. Gee, it smells good in here, and look at this. See how gorgeous it is. It's stained by all that lovely tomato sauce. Now it's time to add our corn. So I'm just going to cut this into 3. And this is going to take on all the lovely flavour of the tomato too. So we'll just pop them in. Some rice, I've just washed some rice, and that goes in. And a splash of vinegar just to balance everything out. Stir that rice, and this rice is not going to take long at all, but it will double in size. So just make sure that you spread it out. Lid on, I'd say another 8 to 10 minutes, and we're good to go. Chicken and chorizo gumbo is ready. I can see that the rice has absorbed all of that liquid. Oh, and that smell. And look at those colours. I love the combination of the red and the yellow and the little bits of chorizo poking out. So good. Now, just like any slow cooked dish, you want to really brighten it up at the end. So a combination of parsley. I'm just going to pick some leaves straight onto it. You can finely chop it if you like. You could also use some coriander, would work nicely too. And spread that around. It's not just to look good, I also love the flavour of parsley. And those reserved spring onion tops, finely slice them for a mild onion flavour. Just a small handful. Sprinkle that over the top. And this is one of those dishes you just take to the table in the pot and let everyone enjoy it. I love gumbo. What a gorgeous taste of the deep south.